Welcome to Man Talk 133 with Charles and Darl, the movement dedicated to empowering men, uniting brothers, and building a strong coalition. This is more than just a conversation. It's a call to action. Join us as we uplift, support, and inspire men worldwide. Because together, we don't just talk, we lead, we grow, and we conquer. Are you ready to be part of the coalition? Let's dive in.
Man Talk 133 with Charles and Darryl. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, sir. Welcome back. Welcome back. What's up, homeboy? How you feeling, man?
Ain't nothing to it, man. I hope you're having a good week. Had a good week, man. Hope everybody else had a good week as well, man. So we back in the building, dog.
Yes, sir. Made it back one more time.
We back in the building, man. So I know people, you're ready to start traveling, you're ready to go on vacations and doing all these good things, dog. And so I was, I wanted to enlighten the people, dog, on some stuff, dog.
Okay, what we got? What we working with today?
The top most dangerous cities in America, dog. Top 5.
Man.
There's a lot of them.
Top 5.
Yeah, dog. I'm just letting folk know, when you go traveling, I know folk paint a pretty picture. And I ain't saying, let me say it like this too. Every area the places that we talking about ain't bad.
Right. Okay.
We was gonna give you some insight of what to stay away from. You feel
okay? Yeah, I got you, bro. I got you.
As the boys say, first of all, let me do this. Let me say this too, dog. Shout out to them Indiana Pacers, dog. I had to show them a little love today, dog.
I know that. I know that's your boys. You know what I'm saying? I know. You said the other day, last week that. That's your boys. But hey,
I knew
the guys in the paint was gonna cancel each other out. I didn't get a chance to add that in last week.
Yeah, I'm amazing right now.
Hartenstein and Chet for OKC versus Siakam and Miles Turner for Indiana. That's gonna come down to who decide this series, called SGA and them boys up top, and Halliburton them they kind of cancel each other out.
Kind of sort of, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you think about it, man, and we're gonna get into the top 5 cities.
Okay.
But I just want to shout out the homies. You know what I'm saying? To the people. I ain't gonna celebrate too soon because I'm not a OKC fan or Indy fan. It's just everybody then jumped on that bandwagon. What I'm saying? OKC. So I kind of I'm always, I go against the grain, dog. I said, let me get in 6. That's what I said. My son said he got OKC in 6. I was like, all right, say, we'll see who get it in 6. If they win again, and I think it's tomorrow, if they Indy win again,
it might be tough. It might be over then, though.
It's gonna be tough. You got to go back to Indy and win. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I wanted to shout them out today. Because we talked about it last week. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about it. So as the boys say, number 1 on the list.
Who we got? Who was the lucky winner?
Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee is the most dangerous
all day
city in the United States, man. They are like, listen. Okay, let me go over a little bit of this. Memphis, like major cities, has struggled with high crime rates, leading to its reputation for being dangerous. While statistics can be interpreted in various ways and change over time, some factors consistently contribute to the elevated crime rate in Memphis. So some of the key factors in Memphis is one of the top ones is poverty and economic factors. We talked about this on the show back. You was talking about the poverty, the area that you in. The area in is going to make a difference. High levels of poverty, unemployment, and limited economic opportunities are strongly correlated with the increased crime rates in cities like Memphis. Think about it though, bro. If you ain't educated, you ain't got no money. Who you think they're gonna? What you think they're gonna do, bro?
And like I said, man, unfortunately, man, you know, it's always us. It's in our neighborhood, you know, and it's predominantly us anyway. You know what I'm saying? It got to be told like that. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, and the crazy part about it is when you have the overspill, you know, when things change, I hate to say it like this, when things start to really change and they start to enforce it, when it spill over into other neighborhoods,
right?
You know, when it spill over into the neighborhoods ain't supposed to spill over into, things get changed, man.
Yeah,
and
that's when the stuff change. Yeah, but other than that, you know, other than that, as long as if it stay in our hood, it's gonna go the way it is and say, oh, that's just them. That's how they do. We used to them doing that anyway. They gonna kill each other off anyway. Let them continue to do that.
You know, it's a true statement, dog. They say, you know, we ain't got to kill them. They doing a good job at doing it to themselves.
Yeah, and that's true. That's how they view it, man. And you know, and speaking of that, I know you're gonna get on to them cities, but speaking of that, you know, like they have done studies like that.
Yeah.
Like where, you know, like, okay, just say for instance, like some people may beg to differ, but if you switch sides, if you took us out of the hood and gave us everything that we wanted, or we can get everything off, you know, our, you know, skin color, just use like it is, you know, even though they may be just as poor as we are in some cases, but you know, sometimes skin go a long way. And if you flip it and take all the resources from a lot of other races and put them, let's say like if they take some races and they switch spots with us in our communities and see how it would pan out. You know, surveys have been done like that. Researches have been done like that with mice.
Yeah.
When they put them in the cage with plenty and they can get whatever they want, you know, it's, you know, so, you know, happy-go-lucky community. But when you put them in a cage over here with little to nothing and no resources, they tear each other apart.
That's the fact. That's the truth, though. Yeah. You know, and some sources suggest that about a quarter of Memphis residents live in poverty, contributing to high crime rates, as poverty can breed desperation, frustration. Lack of conflict resolution skills. Some individuals may lack effective resolution skills, leading to personal disputes and escalating into violence and contributing to the homicide rate. You step on, you know, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You step on somebody's shoes, and people have gotten killed. Stepping on somebody's shoes, bro. Like not even knowing they doing it, but they may do it by mistake and don't say excuse me, sorry, or whatever their rule is. Hey, you ain't gonna get down and wipe that off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it can turn into violence, which goes to the next point. The ease of gun access, the accessibility of firearms can contribute to the escalation of violent incidents. People get shot in traffic. People, bruh, it's on a whole nother level.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on a level like Memphis is you know, you can go to a convenience store getting gas and they air it out. Because the fact you up there, folks, you can watch videos, you go find any video you want. They'll show you the boys air it out right at the gas station.
That's right.
You're coming out the store, it don't matter. They got beef with you. It's on site, in other words.
That learned behavior, man. You know, like go back to the stepping on the shoes and all that. You know, we got that pent up, built up anger.
Yeah.
Like I say, you know, you just can't you trying to go this way. You go to the left, you go to the right. You can't make it either way. Yeah. It's like you know, is built up anger, man. Just like, you know, people won't understand it. A lot of people that don't understand it, they didn't come from that background like that.
Yeah,
not saying that they should kill each other, you know, or whatever, you know, that gives them the green light to kill, you know, spray up everything or whatever. But and then that pent up anger, and then it's like, you know, it's gonna it's gonna probably continue to go on like that because you just think if somebody somebody kill your like your 2 or 3 year old granddaughter.
Yeah.
And then the boys gonna ride for that, because that's your
100%.
grandbaby. See, a lot of neighborhoods, they don't get that. Communities don't get that kind of stuff like per se in our community.
For sure.
So
for sure.
you got to figure, like some communities act like we don't love our babies like they love their babies.
Just a fact. And that that's a fact. And I don't feel like other races love their kids like they love their kids either. Right. It could be any race outside of their race if they don't they don't value our kids' lives like they do theirs.
Right.
So I get your point.
Right. So, you know what I'm saying? So if people will start to value other races or other people kids the way they value their kids, like like how you love your dad, mom, and your dad, or your niece or your nephew or your child, it'll be a whole lot better. But see, the way they love their nieces and their child and their granddaughters and stuff like that, children or whatever, when they see ours, they don't love them like that.
Nah, it's crazy.
But we had the same love for ours as they have for theirs. But they don't see our side of it. So when, like you said, so when got and pin up in anger and stuff like that. So in the neighborhood, so when somebody kill your daughter or child, just let's just like take them away like that and shoot them up like that, man, that pin up anger, man, them guys, they going and it ain't right, but at that moment they going to spray somebody.
And you know what it comes from? It comes from the one of the points I got up here is weak community structures and leadership.
Exactly.
Some opinions suggest that weakened community structures and challenges with leadership on crime can contribute to the issue. They look the other way. When something happen like that, only time they really, I hate to say it like this, but I gotta say it. The only time they really make a big deal out of it, if you have a white cop kill a black person. Right. And you got black on black stuff popping off all day, every day. And it goes back to what you said, they don't value, they don't value the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if you go in predominantly white neighborhood and you do anything remotely near than what you do in your neighborhood, bro, you done. There ain't no question about it.
And another real quick thing, I don't know how much you got long before you go to break, but another quick thing too is like when you talking about the value of us, like other people don't value us like that. Like they'll value an animal or a dog.
Yep.
They'll value them more than they will value us.
Yeah.
In our community like that, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, and it need to be said. I mean, even though some people look at it and gloss over it or whatever, but it's true. It's what it is,
It need to be said, and we're coming up against the break. So after the break, we're gonna give a tourist beware. We'll be right back after the break, y'all.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandal's 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts. Or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
back to Man Talk
Yes, sir.
133 with Charles
Sir.
and Darrell. And before the break, boy, we were talking about
Hmm.
we still on Memphis. We finna get out of Memphis because I got a whole lot to get to with the
Go ahead, bro. I'm rolling with you.
I got to make the folk aware, Doc. Tourists, beware, Doc. When y'all go to Memphis,
Hey.
this is what they saying, Doc. Higher than average crime rate. Memphis has a violent crime rate of 19.5 per 1,000 residents, which is higher than the national average. So just in Memphis alone, they kill rate or crime rate, or violent crime rate, is higher than the national average. So they're saying, so for tourists, which we know this anyway, they try to have increased police presence. The Memphis Police Department has increased patrols in popular tourist areas. Community programs, initiatives like the Blue Suede Brigade patrol downtown, offering they offer assistance in acting as an extra eyes for law enforcement. A real-time crime center. A real-time crime center helps monitor and respond to criminal activity.
Let me step in right quick.
Go ahead.
Before you go forward.
Yo,
The only reason why they got that in place because they got to keep it straight for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Because other than that, ain't nobody going to Memphis. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't plan on going to see no Grizzlies game unless it's on TV.
Y'all gonna put this up right now, dog. Listen, and this is something like a lot of people. Okay, let me go to the next part. Dog.
Okay,
I'm gonna go to the
ahead.
next one. All right, tips for tourists to stay safe. Stay in well lit, busy areas, especially at night. I wouldn't advise being out at night. Just, if you want to do that, we saying this like every area ain't bad, but what I'm saying is that they number one for a reason, bro. They ain't just jumped to number one. They number one for a reason. Utilize ride sharing services like Uber or Lyft or taxis for longer distances when traveling alone at night. Do not. Okay. I ain't saying don't.
Right.
But what I am saying is that they run, like they get people with these Ubers to run interference to pick up people. Like say, for example, it was a story of this lady. It was a while back, and she was in the back of a Uber. Okay, she going to a destination. She thinks she going, and she's like, "Well, hey, bro, we supposed to get off right there." He act like he don't hear. He's still going.
Right.
And then they pulls up to this gate, like she said, with these big warehouses. They pulled up to this gate. Well, come to find out, she ended up getting away, but come to find out, it was a place where they hold with them people, the sex trafficking thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So Uber, unless you got like a group of people, do not do. When they said traveling alone at night, do not. Women and men, don't do it.
And see, one thing about that too, man, with that Memphis, of course, that's Tennessee, and I don't know like other visiting states, but I know because I'm going another direction real quick. Right. North Carolina, see Tennessee, they honor North Carolina's carry,
right?
Concealed carry, license, right? So if I'm going to Memphis, I'm carrying my stuff with me. So if I'm in the back of an Uber, and I tell you, yo, man, there was my stop right there, and you keep on gonna carry me somewhere else,
you're gonna light
we gonna stop.
Yeah,
and then we answer questions later, like just in case the Uber like, well, he tried to rob me. No, I told you my stop was about 3 blocks back, but you kept going. I don't know where you carrying me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, so I understand some people don't carry.
Yeah.
Like that. So, but I don't go nowhere. If I gotta go somewhere where I can't carry, I don't need to be there.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, dog. You got to be able to handle that and be
Yeah.
mindful of your surroundings and avoid isolated or dimly lit areas. Keep valuables secure and do not and out of sight, both on you and both on your person and in your vehicle. If
Right.
you, I gotta say it, Doc, if you can't protect it, don't wear it.
That's right.
If you cannot protect that,
Right.
if you got a nice chain on, you can't protect it, don't worry,
Mhm.
dog. Just unless like you were just talking about the concealed carry, unless you
Right.
can protect it like that, dog, don't mess with it. Dog, just leave it
Right.
at the house, especially going in certain areas, downtown areas.
Yeah.
Everybody think downtown areas so safe, bruh.
That's the
Do
worst
not do
areas.
it.
The
That's the
worst
worst.
areas are downtown.
Yeah, and then so these are areas to avoid in Memphis because we're gonna go to the next contestant, Doc. In general, areas to be cautious to avoid in Memphis include, as we were just saying, downtown,
Mm-hmm.
specifically around the Graceland area, Orange Mound, Fraser, Whitehaven, Shelby, and just the other downtown area where people do all the most people come in town, they want to go hang out downtown. Let me let y'all know something.
Right.
These areas are very dangerous, especially at night. Graceland area, the immediate area around Graceland and its attraction is generally considered unsafe. Orange Mound, this area is known for higher crime rates. I don't care what they try to paint you, Doc. Fraser, this neighborhood is the northern part of the city is considered one of the most dangerous. Whitehaven, this is, don't these names sound so like they so uppity, like they big neighborhood, they sound good. Whitehaven,
One
this
of those
area,
areas. Go ahead. Well, one of them areas sound like where they got Dolph at. I can't remember. I don't know if it was Whitehaven or Orange Mountain. It's one of them areas, but I can't remember though. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong though. But yeah.
This area was it Whitehaven. This is the southern part of the city, is also not very safe. Shelby Forest, this area is also listed among the most dangerous. North of Memphis, South Memphis, Southwest Memphis, these areas are considered very, very dangerous, Doc. Guess who number 2 is, dog?
Who is?
Number 2 on the list, St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh yeah.
Y'all made the list, Doc.
I don't think they too far apart.
Yeah. St. Louis reputation is for being a dangerous city is often tied to its high crime rates, particularly for violent crimes like murder, and its history of racial and economic equality. Inequality. However, it is more important to note while St. Louis has faced these challenges, there are ongoing efforts to try to address them, and crime rates have been declining. That's a good thing. However, they are known for having high crime rate. Just keep that in mind. Not just high crime rate, violent crimes, including homicide and others.
Man, you would think St. Louis was, it's pretty chill, man. But St. Louis, like you said, you got some heavy hitters. Memphis and St. Louis. Hey, St. Louis, now they do something about you out there now.
Quick, and don't even care about doing nothing about you. Because you think about it, I mean, out there, dog. We talked about in the last one, the lack of community leadership. Like, what I'm saying, for example, somebody gets shot, it take them, I don't know, bro, 4, 5, 6, 7 years before they find out who the person then done it. And how a lot of times they find out the person that then did it, they got killed. Now he linked to over how many murders that's unsolved. Now he dead. Now you can't hold nobody accountable. It's crazy. And then this is one of the main things too in these cities like this: poverty and lack of opportunity. Poverty is a significant factor in crime rates, and St. Louis has disproportionately high rates of poverty compared to other parts of the region and the nation. And that comes from like historical segregation and racism.
Right.
St. Louis
Right.
has a long history of segregation
Yep.
and racial inequality, which continues to impact communities and contribute to crime cycles of crime, bro. Gun violence, all that.
Yep. And you would think it would be, on the up and up.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, you know, of course they still got the St. Louis Cardinals baseball
Yeah.
team. But you would think that, you know, they had the Cardinals and then they had the you know, like the St. Louis Rams before the Rams moved back to LA. You know what I'm saying? You would think that they would be on the up and up, you know, as a city, St. Louis, right? Well, that's how we used to look at it. But when you take a deep dive into it, like, you know, like you're doing now, and like you said, that deep segregation, man, in them cities like that, you know, St. Louis and Memphis and all that stuff like that. Yeah.
It's crazy. And you know, we talk about the gun violence, youth involvement in criminal activities. A significant number of young people are involved in criminal activities, which contributes to the high crime rates in areas. That's what they know. That's what they taught. They're poverty. They don't know nothing but that.
Yeah, it's just
they call it hustling, but it ain't hustling. No.
Yeah, it's just like when we talk about the kids of today are born into technology.
Yeah. For sure.
That's all they know. See, that's all kids know, like in those poverty-stricken areas like that. That's all they know is when they're raised up, they don't know nothing else. That's it. And people hold them, like I said, in other communities hold them higher at a higher standard that you know that the kids don't understand because that's all they know. That's all they came up in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know what though? There's hope. There's hope. There's hope. They got ongoing efforts to reduce it. They got the crime rate is declining. You know, some reports reporting a 50% decrease over the past decade. You know, the police department has implemented various initiatives to address crime, including technology-based crime prevention efforts and increase community policing. Now, the policing thing is tricky because if you're not from that neighborhood, it's kind of tough because you don't know the behaviors of a black person, nor does a black person know the behaviors of a white person. Now, white person can be aggressive, and that's just how they are. Some of some people they just talk, you know, real fast and do. And then black person do that. And if you don't understand a black person,
they're going to lay them down.
They'll lay them quick.
They'll lay them down. You know what I'm saying? Just
for real.
Just like the guy the other day. I know we were pushing up against the break. Like the guy the other day. Did you see on news the other day with the guy with Molotov cocktails or whatever? That was throwing the stuff like, you know, he was out there with them. He was, you know, chopping it up, whatever. You know, they carried him into custody without a problem. But, you know, like I said, if it had been us, he would have been laid down because of what you just said. Yeah,
for real though. And then before we go to break, we're gonna come back and talk about their crime rates, but addressing social inequalities. Efforts are underway to address social inequalities and disparities in access to opportunities, education, resources, which can help break the cycles of crime. They need money, y'all. We'll be right back after the break.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The Man Talk,
yes, sir,
with Charles and Daryl. So before the break, man, we were just giving a little breakdown of some of the efforts they was making. Now we go over the crime rate and go to the places y'all ain't supposed to visit, and then we'll go to number 3. So in 2024, I went with 2024 because 2025 ain't over yet. So I don't know that crime rate could go higher. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So in 2024, St. Louis crime rate experienced a downward trend, which is great. Overall crime was down 15% year over year and a 31% compared to 2022. Homicide saw a significant decrease with 150 reported in 2024, the lowest in 11 years. However,
Mm-hmm.
However, kind of, however, but takes count. Take that first part away.
Is it however?
but doing it, but however, burglaries increased by 3% compared to 2023. The city's homicide clearance rate is currently at 100% and is overall is down 28% the first 3 months of 2025 compared to the same period last year. So some places y'all ain't supposed to go. Areas to avoid: north of Del Mar Boulevard, generally considered as unsafe. County suburbs. Now this is the suburbs. Some areas in North County should be avoided. Dutchtown, while potentially safe during the day, it should be avoided after dark.
That's crazy, man. It's safe during the day, but don't go there at night. Man,
you can't make this up. Tower Grove East, similar to Dutchtown, avoid after dark. Wells Goodfellow is one of the least safest neighborhoods in St. Louis. Old North St. Louis is generally considered less safe. The Ville has a higher crime rate per capita than many other neighborhoods.
Oh, she sound like, she sound like she straight the Ville. When they call it the Ville,
look out.
Yeah.
Look out, Doc. Hyde Park, one of the least safe neighborhoods. Peabody Durst Webb, another neighborhood with a high crime rate. Hey, y'all lead them. Don't do it. Don't do it. Number 3, Little Rock, Arkansas. Doc.
Come on, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know Arkansas was kind of, they out there or whatever, but I wouldn't have put them in that, everybody got their hoods or whatever.
Yeah.
All over, but I wouldn't have,
Little Rock, Arkansas, number 3, Doc. They made number 3 on the list.
Little Rock will get their business.
Little Rock, Arkansas has a reputation for being dangerous due to its high crime rates, particularly violent and property crime. Several factors contribute to this, including issues with drug-related crime, poverty, and lack of resources. That violent crime they were talking about, bro. They talk about, and this is why you got to. I'm gonna get them some areas too they need to stay out of, because the high crime rate in Little Rock is from violent crimes, including homicide, robbery, and assault. The homicide rate increased significantly in recent years. Like, man, you wouldn't even think about that, right?
Little Rock, like, you know what I'm saying? You be going through Little Rock, Arkansas, thinking like, you got Arkansas, man. It's chill down through here.
Yeah, I'm gonna just pull over real quick, give me a little sandwich.
Well, you said you get down through there and get your wig split.
Pull over, give me a little sandwich real quick.
Man,
there's certain areas that, well, I'm telling you, I know people getting ready to go start traveling and finna go. I'm just letting y'all know, bro. It ain't sweet. There's certain areas, dog. It ain't sweet like y'all think it is. Property crimes like burglary, theft, and motor vehicle theft are prevalent. You stop at, you got a nice whip. Just keep riding through Arkansas, doc. And great.
Yeah, boy. That's gotta be that's crucial.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you stopping at the gas tank to fill up, and you might get ran down on. So I guess you got to kind of go to whatever upscale area that you may see, or you may, in that area, whatever, you might have to go to some kind of upscale area. Only thing I could say, because if you just stopping at some, not saying a gas station is in the hood or nothing like that, but you know how you can have something that's kind of like, it look like it's hood, but it might not be like it's hood.
Got the elements.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you think you might, okay, I can pull in here and I can,
real quick. Yeah,
yes, real quick and skate on up out of here, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, but
don't test it.
like that's wild, man. Like
Do
you at the
not
gas station
test
and
it.
you ran up on.
Yeah. Motor vehicle theft. You
Mhm.
be, and I'm willing to bet that's probably, carjackings and all kind of stuff that's tied
Right.
in that when you said motor vehicle
Yeah.
theft. Drug related crimes. Little Rock is a hub for drug trafficking,
Mhm.
particularly meth, opioids, which fuels
Mhm.
violence. People can't get it; they acting out. Poverty and lack. You notice in all these neighborhoods is one key thing that's sticking out, Doc.
It was
That
that dog.
poverty,
Yep.
that poverty piece, man, and
What I'm
lack of
saying.
opportunity.
That's what
You
I'm saying.
know,
They push them all the way into a corner.
yeah,
And it's, it's desperation time. This is
just
it.
yeah,
You can't you can't get no, like, you can't get no job over here. You can't get no proper
yeah,
education over here. You can't get no proper food or nothing over here. It's
yeah.
just, and like I said, just gotta wait. You just always gotta wait on your shoulder in
That's
them,
it.
in them neighborhoods like that, man. You really don't get now equal fair share. And a lot of people don't understand it because they never been in that predicament like that.
Yeah.
You know what
That
I'm saying?
that right there, dog. When you wake up in the morning and you
Yeah.
got 3 miles looking at you, you got to figure out how
Yeah.
you gonna feed all these jokers and yourself. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then then you talk about the lack of resources.
Yeah.
Lack of education, social services, mental health support can
Mm-hmm.
could even increase the problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
In
yeah,
situations like that, what you just named, see the mental health aspect in communities like, like communities like where we came from and all this stuff like that, and with the
mhm,
communities that we're talking about, the mental health aspect of it, that's the least of it.
yeah,
That's at the back of the line. Don't nobody talk about that. We don't worry about mental health. We trying to get some resources, get some food, whether it's, you go down there and you
yeah,
get that box of food with some cheese in it and some
yeah.
cereal or whatever, powdered milk or whatever. See, a lot of people
They ain't never
ain't
had
never
that with that
they ain't
farina.
yeah, see, they ain't never had to, a lot of people ain't never really had to
Yeah,
never go through that.
yeah, yeah,
So they looking at people like, like, hey man, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like the people that have never been through, had to deal with that. And
yeah.
then they don't understand the people that do have to go through that.
Right.
So as long as they can get that box of food from social services and stuff like that or whatever, see the mental health aspect that you just named, that's on the back burner. That's why they ain't talked about it in our community like that, cause that's the least of our worry. Don't nobody even talk about mental health in our community about that.
I'll
Because
tell you.
they trying to scratch and get food, or see, man, I got to try to get this next job, man. I heard they paying $15 an hour. There's $15 an hour. I was getting 10. I'm trying to get this job,
Mm-hmm.
when other people been used to making 20 and $25 an hour for years.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
I'm
it's one
telling
of
you,
those
man.
situations.
I'm telling you, and let me see where we are. We got about a minute or so before we come up to the
Okay.
next break. But so I'm gonna run through some of this real
Go
quick.
ahead.
Homicides, black men, we gotta do better, dog. A
Oh yeah, no
significant
doubt.
number of homicide suspects are black males under 35.
Mm-hmm.
Gang activity. Some sources suggest that gang violence is a factor in the high crime rate. They bullying people, dog. Yeah, they're
Right.
trying, safety precautions. And listen, understand they try to put safety precautions in, but think
Mm-hmm.
about this from this aspect. If
Mm-hmm.
you putting safety precautions in
Mm-hmm.
and the crime rate then went up,
Right.
how good is the safety precautions you putting in?
Exactly.
Think about that. If it's going up,
Right.
I don't the safety precautions, bro, is like I hear what they saying, like stay in
Mm-hmm.
well lit areas, be aware of your surroundings. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you supposed to do that. I don't care where you at, what neighborhood you in, because folk gonna drive through a good neighborhood, spray it up and keep pushing.
Yep. That's
But
right.
but if the crime is still going up, I'm just trying to figure out what y'all got going on. They got community programs to try to reduce it, try to reduce the crime rate. But we come back out of this break though. That I got to go through
the last two.
I'm gonna go through the crime rate and where we at right now? What's that we at? Little Rock. I'm gonna give you the crime rate on Little Rock, and then we're gonna knock it out from there. We'll be right back after the break, y'all.
It's time for a Vacation and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandal's 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts. Or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back to Man Talk 133 with Charlotte and Earl. Hey, y'all check out Red. Tell him Man Talk 133 sent you.
Yes, sir. That's right. Shout out Red.
Yeah, shout out to Fairway Travel. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the crime rate won't run through this because I got two more contestants I got to get to in 15 minutes. So
we got it.
Yeah, Little Rock, the crime rate in 2024 decreased. They experienced a decline overall with a notable 42% decrease in the homicide rate compared to 2023, which is awesome. Homicides, Little Rock recorded 37 homicides in 2024, a significant decrease from 64 in 2023, represent a 42% reduction. Beyond homicides, the city saw 190 rapes. That's why y'all don't need to be out at night. 438 robberies and 2,764 aggravated assault cases, totaling 3,429 violent crimes in 2024. Property crime, dog, the property crime with 8,801 property crimes reported in 2024. The property rate crime, Little Rock property has a property crime rate of 52.22 per 1,000 residents, which is higher than the state average. Our national, just in their state alone, you know what I mean? And so let me go to the places y'all ain't supposed to go. All right, here go more detail. Look where y'all ain't supposed to be at. South Little Rock. This area is particularly south of I-630. Is mentioned as having a higher risk of crime, including property and violent crimes. East Little Rock. This area east of 130, including East Little Rock and East Roosevelt, is also flagged as a higher risk area.
You put them together, southeast, like southeast DC.
There you go. You know how southeast DC is too, Doc.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Specific neighborhoods, town and country, Pinedale, Oak Forest, and Briarwood are cited as neighborhoods with higher likelihood of victims of violent and property crime and property crimes. High risk areas, Doc, Persian, Pike, Division, and Levee is also mentioned as areas to avoid.
Wow.
All these areas sound good though, but
yeah, those names right there. I be on roll right up in there. What you said, Pike? What you said, Levee?
Yeah, you know,
roll on the Levee. Let me roll on the Levee real quick. It sounds like it's all right over there.
And then you start buildings start looking. Hold on, bro.
911.
You know how they do, bro. How they take these hotels and stuff, man, and then they change the names of our old building. They rebrand them, and then when folk be like, man, we're gonna stay at the, let's say the one of the Hyatt or something like that, and you think it's the Hyatt got to be in a good area,
right?
I'm gonna tell you, for example, right up here in Raleigh, off of New Bern Avenue, and the people know where I'm talking about.
Oh,
you
man,
go over there, right there by the hospital.
Yeah, bro. Bro, right there by Treywick.
Yeah, a little rough in that area, Doc. But when they rent it and they show the pictures, when they, people go and they be like, you know what? Hey man, I'm tired. They come, gotta come off the highway, and it's right down the highway, but bro, they don't know.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, they don't know, bro. There's some stuff that go on over there. Number 4, Doc. Minneapolis.
Come on, man. Not Minneapolis, bro. Man.
I told you it's gonna be some stuff up in, Doc, you won't gonna believe.
Not the home of Prince and the Revolution.
Yeah, Doc. Ain't lying. Prince and the Revolution, Doc. Purple Rain and all them. Adore, all that.
Well, I mean, they did have a situation with Floyd and them up there, but I'm just saying, like maybe an isolated incident or something, maybe, but
no, I mean, not based on this, Doc. It ain't isolated. I'm about to give you some facts. It just won't him, Doc. That's a fact. Ain't lying. So you got we have Minneapolis has been has seen a notable increase in certain types of particularly violent crimes, which are contributing to its reputation as a potentially dangerous city. Factors like police community actions, pandemic recovery struggles, and other crime rates exceeding state and national averages contributing to this perception. For example, increased violent crimes. Minneapolis has experienced a rise in violent crimes, and particularly in the years following George Floyd protests. You just talked about them.
Right.
I mean, the police is trying to get involved. The murder of George Floyd and subsequent protests have created tensions between the police department and communities they serve. And that's what we were talking about earlier. If you're going to be in that area, bro, just serve your area. Like, put the people that's from that community. And I know they feel like, well, hey, if we do this, then they're gonna let them get away with stuff. Not really. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do their job, but you can't send somebody in there like the guy that did George Floyd and think you ain't gonna handle backlash.
Yeah, real quick, because I know you got to keep moving, but you can't send people in there, man, that's gonna act like they're overseers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. If you do that, you're gonna have some problem. Crime, Minneapolis violent and property crime rates are higher than the state and national averages, exceeding both.
Wow. Man.
You see what I'm saying? The crime rates in Minneapolis, homicides in 2024, Minneapolis saw 76 homicides and an increase from 72 in 2023. Violent crimes, where violent crimes overall decreased in early 2025. It remains above the state and national average. That lets you know how bad they really were.
Right.
Or are. Like property crime, the crime rate exceeded the national rate for the first time in 3 decades. Declines in 2025 they see in the first part of 2025. That's why I didn't do the whole 2025, because we don't got an accurate. You could go good the first. It's like basketball, Doc. You can go good the first 3 quarters and fall apart in the fourth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This
like
is
last
what it
night.
is.
Yeah.
Just like last night. Shout out to Indy, Doc. Glad y'all ain't make the list.
Right.
I ain't lying. In early 2025, saw a significant decrease in violent crime, including a 47% drop in robberies, 40% decrease in carjackings, and a 32% fewer in shooting victims. So juvenile violence That's the main ones that's kind of causing all the hoopla, you know, the young people. Areas not to visit, Doc. Tourists beware. You know what I'm saying? North side, known for higher crime rates and potentially safety concerns. Midtown Phillips, East Phillips, these areas have higher crime rates.
Right.
Apartment, this is crazy. Apartments along freeways. What?
Man, that's good. Yeah, that's good. It's real crazy. Apartments among freeways.
Along freeways.
Along freeways.
Yeah, some buildings in these areas may have higher crime rates. That absolutely crazy, Doc. I ain't lying. So, Doc, number 5 on our list, Doc.
What we got?
Detroit, Michigan, Doc.
No doubt. I knew Detroit. I was like, yeah, it was that or either New Orleans.
The dirty D is up here, Doc. Detroit has a reputation for being dangerous due to high crime rates, particularly violent crimes, including homicide. This is a partly due to historic economic downturn, where we're talking about basically poverty, job losses, the resulting
that manufacturing
hardship.
That manufacturing killed them.
Yeah, no, it hurt them bad, man. And you know, the high crime rates, Detroit consistently ranks among the cities with the highest violent crime rates in the United States, including murder. That dog. Economic challenges, decades of economic decline when, you know, GM and all them folk, General Motors, you know, all that stuff.
Right.
In some places, man, I know some guys that's from Detroit. You can go buy a house up there for $500. You know what I'm saying? $500 for a house.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? And you get the title for it. Some people go then buy whole blocks. You know, what they can have it, because I don't really.
Yeah, man. Like that's tough, man. Cause like I said, you got to look at that area. Like you said, them landmarks.
Yeah, dog. Hey, it's kind of tough. The historical context: the city has faced significant challenges, including population decline, foreclosures, and the Great Recession, which have further exacerbated economic and social issues. The reputation and perceptions, even with recent declines in the same crime categories, the city's reputation for being dangerous persists due to the long history of crime. Bro, ain't nobody going to Detroit. I don't got y'all try to put it ain't happening, cool.
They trying to work on that. I think they're trying to fix up the downtown district or something like that. But
yeah, I'm good, Doc. I'm good.
You got to have that. You got to have that paper. You got to have that real paper to be on it in the downtown district.
I'm gonna tell you, you better be able to stay in the downtown district, because you go out of downtown district, somebody in trouble. They telling you right here. Other factors: poverty, lack of opportunity, and systemic issues like inadequate resources for education, and social services also play a role in contributing to dangerous environment. And why is the crime rate so high? Dude, every one of these that we read, poverty. Poverty, dude. Poverty is.
Got to do something about it. I mean, I don't know if it's by design or what, but I'll let you. Since we push for time, I'll let you finish it off. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, you know. Poverty and unemployment, man. You know, this creates desperation and a sense of hopelessness, potentially leading to criminal activity. They're gonna try to creep over in them neighborhood where you just that district you was talking about. They're gonna try to do that, and that's where you go there and you're gonna get nabbed out. It's gonna be not good for you. The years of poor city management, high taxes, and large-scale projects that ultimately failed, contributing to the city's financial woes and the decline of its economy. Poor leadership, gang activity, the racial dynamics. You know, I'm gonna get these folks some areas y'all better stay out of, Doc. I'm telling you, because we about to be out of time. Pole Town East, the I, Fitzgerald, Franklin Park, Warrendale, and Fisk Corn.
Now, real quick, they all sound like they thuggish.
They sound like, yeah.
Fitzgerald
Sound like
Fitzgerald at the gate, like, yo, I ain't going over there, dog.
Hey, the eye. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The eye, dog. Hey, thank y'all for joining.
Yeah.
Man Talk 133 with Charles and Daryl. At the next time, God bless.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.